guys, Rascal here, and today we're going to go over some projects that are on the workbench and have been on the workbench for a little bit. So, here we go. Plans and updates and everything else for Bud 90. I mean, not Bud 90. This is the original shop truck. Sorry guys, my head is freaking not working right. I ain't feeling the best in the world. But, yeah. Plan for this is I found a short course body. I'm gonna, in my parts bin, of course, I'm gonna modify it a little bit. Trim, file the holes out for the body post so it'll fit onto these. It fits. These are a little bit too narrow. They're right. This way apart, they're just right. This way, they're too close together for that body, so I can file it in and it'll fit. Should fit, in theory. But the plans is I'm going to get something like either the Exceed Max Watt or the original Red Cat Everest 10 and pull these axles out from under this truck and put those axles, links, and shocks under this truck and replace from this plastic drive shaft to the metal drive shaft that I already have in my parts bag for this thing. And now that'll actually make it a heap better on the suspension end, so it's not like I'm driving on frozen suspension. And what else would that do? Trying to think. Oh, bumpers also. This back bumper, it'll be coming off. And it'll move to. I know what it was. I was thinking it'll move the steering servo down. So whenever you steer it, it won't be like you're getting massive bump steer. You know. Which this thing here has that, but the thing I really don't like about this truck, I mean, considering what it is, it's a cheap truck. It's, you know, it's something. It works. It trails. What I don't like about it is when I'm in something that's a Harrier situation that the suspension's already twisted on and my tires are flexed out and all that, I'm trying to turn the truck instead of it turning. The chassis twists and the tires go whatever way they want to go, and the chassis just leans the other way because the servo has so much torque it actually moves this plastic chassis around a heap more than necessary. And it was the same way when I had the factory servo in there, and it was like a 3 kilogram servo. So, but that happened as soon as I changed out to these softer tires on it, because the ones that were on here were hard as a frickin' rock. But that's the plans for this thing. What's going on with it? Next up, Bud 90. Yeah, I got the vertical plates put on here. And instead of, I'll move it up here, I was going to do 2 screws right beside each other. As you can see, I got the holes to do it. I have the holes in the plate to do it. But I decided I wasn't going to do that, because I was going to do 2 up here, 2 back here. Decided I didn't have enough to do that, so enough screws to do that, so I just done the 4 screws to hold it together, and it seems to feel sturdy enough with the 4 4 screws, two screws on each plate holding it in, and 2 screws on the bottom holding the skid plate in. It seems to be doing pretty good at, for bouncing it around on the bench. It seems to be doing all right. So there's that. Now the other truck. Shop truck 2.0. And if the light will work with me, which I doubt it will, I changed out to the axial trepidors that came on Outlaw, and they actually work pretty good for what I'm having to run over right now due to floodwaters being the way they are. I can't use a riverbed right now. But to say this, I did change these out, not really because of, terrain. I changed them out due to a personal preference because there's something I have gotten to where I just absolutely hate the sound of. And that is when you go to full compression like this, when you're crawling over big obstacles, whether it be your tree limb, your rock, or whatever, is when the tires that come on this truck would rub the body, and they'd also rub the bumper. And I'm not a big fan of that kind of Lexan crack noise that makes. And it makes a hell of a cracking noise. It was to the point even when you did like that, it'd rub just leaning the truck over. So it got really annoying. And there are ways to prevent that from happening where you don't have to change out your tires. I had tires and I didn't feel like going through the whole other process. But I'll tell y'all what it is. Now to fix that process, if it's just the body rubbing, you take your body off. Well, we'll pop the top off to show you. You pull your pins. Ouch. Pull your pins. Set your body off to the side. Then you got your screws on this truck, and you raise each body post up, set the body back on there, pick up the corner until it quits scrubbing. With the bumper, you take the screws out of the bumper, push it forward, and pick up the corner until it quits scrubbing. And you do that front, rear, and you put your screws back in once you got it lined up. But that's how you do that to get it. But with the bumper, your biggest thing is you turn the tire in and then pick it up. That's where you're going to get some of the more side bite into the bumper if your tire's real wide. And then when you turn it the other way and do it, if it's comes in too deep, it'll bite again. So you want to get it where your tire width is also clearing, because you don't want that clicking during your turning. Or you just go to a smaller tire. I've gotten used to running Class 1 tires on these trucks, so that's kind of the size like I said, I've gotten used to running Class 1 size tires, so yeah, that's why I just went with a drop down a little bit on the tires. But to be honest, I do, now to answer this question, the question that just about everybody in RC gets is, what is a recommended RC? This platform here, the Red Cat Gen 7, is my recommendation for anybody looking to get into the RC hobby who wants a good budget-friendly crawler. At least anyone here in the U.S., it's budget-friendly. If you're overseas, then I would recommend getting something that is similar to this. This is just based off of, when I roll it over, You see the little decal right there? It says made in China. Yep, it is your basic Chinese kit slapped together. Somebody put a brand name on it and sold it in the US. The only thing on this truck that separates this from any other with this kit was it come with the licensed Interco tires. The rest of them have some Rocks tire, Super Swamper, or something like that. You know, they don't have the actual brand on the side of the tire like this particular platform does. But anyways, what I was saying too on this, another reason why I recommend it, even though it's still a twin vertical plate, it still classifies as a twin vertical plate, but it's also a full length, if that makes any sense, frame rail. Basically, this is what you'd call a Class 2, Class 3 competition rig. The way it's out of the box, it's just about competition ready. Just a few little adjustments on body post and bumpers and all that. It's a competition ready rig. And I mean, it comes with a 55 turn brushed motor. Sealed can, but you know, I'm not one that's complaining about it because that's a damn good motor. I got one of those in Outlaw, and it is a good motor. The biggest thing I have a complaint with, like I said, it's just me, it's the way I'm used to, is the factory tires are just, they're so big on this kit with no preload that it's ridiculous. And these shocks, they're great with preload, but I'm not a big fan of putting preload into them, because then where you go from having the full compression, you get about there. You actually lose compression when you put a preload spring in it. You lose articulation. And truthfully, I think they've changed a bit on these shocks myself, but there's a couple of spots on this truck that, okay, a little bit of preload wouldn't hurt. Like on the front, for instance, because if you go down too low, roll it up, if you go too low, your drag link here, I'll move it around so you can see, the drag link, well, when it goes at full frontal compression, the drag link actually hits the frame rail, so a little bit of modifications are needed for personal preference, but I'm not planning on putting this thing through nothing that extreme. So that's fine. The only other thing I'll tell you is this truck, when you're running it, has a heap of torque twist. It actually has that torque squat. It'll sit down in this back corner right here, but it's not really a complaint. That's something you just get used to when you're driving these trucks. You learn to either preload the corner, put a little preload in that one corner, or you just don't mess with it. You just deal with it. And I just deal with it because it is what it is. As long as you got a competition style rig, you're going to have that squat back there. Alright. As I'm getting a little short on wind, guys, I'm going to call this video here. And tell y'all I ain't feeling the best in the world this week. If I'm feeling rotten on Wednesday, y'all won't get a video next week. But if I'm feeling better by Wednesday, y'all will know, because y'all have a video on Thursday. At least that's the plan. Alright, guys. Peace. Catch y'all in the next one. As always, Magnatfied forum link down below. I'll see y'all later.